Well, man, I told you guys the interviews were going to happen, man. We are talking about Roarin' Thunder Rock Fest happening May 3rd and 4th at Waltons Park, Newton, goddamn Kansas, man. 80 acres of nothing but a pure 2-day rock and roll party. Up first in line, man, I told you guys about it. My brother's Burdens Within. What's going on out there today?
What's up, guys?
Nothing, man. Who's with us today? Introduce yourselves.
Hey, this is Mike. I'm a rhythm player.
This is Gary. I'm a drummer. This is Rhino. I'm lead guitar. And this is Ryan Klein, bass. Unfortunately, our singer was unable to make it. He's got strep throat.
That's not ever good.
No, not for a singer.
I mean, it would be Jesus God. Oh, well, man, he's here in spirit. So we won't talk bad about him because he's got strep throat, right? So listen, man, what I like to do is I like to introduce you guys. First of all, let's talk about Burdens Within, man, and tell me about the early days of Burdens Within, man. How did it come about? How did the idea surface? And you know, take me through the whole process of how it came to what it is now.
Burdens Within, it's been a long process, honestly. Our bass player and then Mike, the rhythm guitar player, we kind of formed this band after other projects that we had kind of fizzled out, and we just felt like doing something new. We were kind of stuck in our rut, and we just felt like kind of making music with like no boundaries. Like, I mean, we don't really feel like we're one genre. We kind of use elements of like classic rock, punk rock, metal, whatever fits, man. We don't constrain ourselves to just one sound. So, you know, me and Mike started writing songs, and over the years, we finally got to where we're at. I'll tell you, it was a long, strange journey, trying out different singers and different people with different ideas. There's some stuff that you would just drop your jaw and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was really, really amazing to see different people's different perspectives on what they thought should be written to this music, I guess. But, you know, finally it came together with Rhino and Gary and Danny, and it's just been flowing good ever since. So we're just going to try and keep this rolling.
And you guys, you know, I'm glad you kind of touched on that early, man, and kind of just, you know, you hit one right into center field with you guys in your music. I've got some of your tracks in regular rotation now, man. So welcome to the Blast family, where you're going to be heard, man. So spread the word, man. Tell everybody to go find us on Live 365, man, and tune in and like our Facebook to request you. That's my pimp there. But anyway, man, the difference between the tracks, you know, you have a core sound that does resemble, you know, Burdens Within, of course. But like you said, man, you guys are all over the place musically. Like the difference between the tracks that I have right now, what do I have? I got Dead in Town, and I've got The Devil's Due. And, you know, great music, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm glad to have it because it's awesome. This festival, what it's done for me is it's opened my eyes to a lot of different bands that are out there that I normally maybe would have taken years to get in contact with, and all of a sudden I'm overloaded with like 25 or 26 of you guys. And it's a beautiful thing because what it does is it opens up the world for you guys. It opens up the diversity on the station, and I think you guys represent that very well. And like I said at the beginning, man, I don't want to talk about, you know, hey, well, you know, the guitar player, his main influence is Led Zeppelin. I don't give a shit about Jimmy Page. I want to talk about you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, I hear you, man. I think, you know, everybody's got their favorite bands, but at the same time, people get stuck in ruts with what they listen to, and they really should just open their minds and start listening to new bands. Because I hate to say it, but a lot of these bands that are huge, right, you know, they could be around forever. So who's going to take their spots?
No, and you're exactly right, and we say that a lot because we do support independent and local artists from all around the globe, man, very heavily at this station, and it's mainly because I firmly believe that the music industry is going to take a change. It's already in the process, and anybody that doesn't see the writing on the wall is crazy. But this is the age of the independent artist, man, because this is where the grassroots, organically created music that still has feel is coming from. And this is what people are gravitating to. And you look at platforms like us and Spotify and iTunes and shit like that, Pandora even, for what it's worth. You know, they provide that platform to get it out on more of a mainstream level, and it's so different and it's so organic, and people are like, shit, man, this isn't organic. This isn't over polished, overproduced bullshit. This is real rock and roll, man, and that's what people love.
Right, absolutely.
So you guys got, man, so we went kind of through the early days a little bit, man. You guys, it was a long process, a bunch of different things coming together all at once, man. Tell me about the present. What's going on right now with Burdens Within?
Right now we're regrouping. Our album's been out just like a month short of a year now, and we're working on some new stuff. You know, we set the bar for 2008. Try to keep the roll for 2000. To as many people as we can, get our name out there. Let everybody know we're here and we're kicking ass.
We're definitely hoping to get on some kind of national tour this year, which has not as yet happened. It's just very expensive and a lot of times not feasible.
It is very, very, very costly to do now. And that's the one thing that we talk about a lot with indie bands on it. They're like, Jesus Christ, it costs so much to go on tour. All of us have to mortgage our houses and sell our cars and all kinds of shit to go chase our dream. And what we believe in doing, and I think, and which leads me into my next point, what this festival like Roarin' Thunder Rock Fest is going to do is it's going to open up an avenue for you guys to come out and play bigger shows and get your name out there too, because obviously it's going to draw some industry people. We're going to be there. A bunch of other radio stations will be there covering it. So there's going to be mass media coverage of the whole thing, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to give you guys a chance to play on that big stage, man, get that feel, sell some merch, make a little bit of money, and tuck some of it back, for studio time or tour or whatever the case may be. But, you're right. It is getting really, really rough out there to do it. And you guys that are out there doing it, man, and making it happen, my hat's off to you because you guys work your asses off, man.
Absolutely. We work 40 to 60 hour jobs a week, and then on the weekend go out and play gigs.
Right. And I've been there. I've been there from the artist standpoint to being on tour as a manager to now I own a radio station. So it's the same thing for me, man. If anybody thinks that being in a band and creating music and gigging all the time or owning a radio station is easy, you got life all sorts of fucked up because we do this shit because we love it.
Yeah, you get the wrong information.
Yeah,
right. Quit looking at that slice of the pie that was Doc McGee and Motley Crue where they were getting rich. It's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore by any means. I mean, I could give you all kinds of like horror stories. Let's put it that way. But that would take a long time, and it's really not worth like. Basically pinpointing people and situations.
Right. We'll save that for the live interview backstage at the show. We'll talk all the shit when we're there. Let's get there.
And I think we're very, very grateful for being invited to this music festival because in this day and age, networking is everything. And like you said, you're going to have media there, a bunch of industry people, and that's just only going to open up bigger doors for us. So, we're very, very appreciative of that.
Yeah, I'm super excited about what he's doing as far as this festival goes, because it's basically like, the big Rock on the Range type festival, but it's more unknown bands instead of just like your usual every year go on the festival rock bands. You know what I mean? And I'm really hoping people will come out and embrace that. The fact that it's a whole new set and generation of music. It's
not going to be the same sound of every band that goes on that stage. You're going to be hearing a lot of different sounds, and it's, I think it's a kick-ass thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing when it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the greatest thing about it. And I've met with Roy and everybody involved at RR Management multiple times about this Roaring Thunder Rock Festival that we're talking about. For those of you that are just joining, May 3rd and 4th, Waltons Park, Newton, Kansas. 2-day festival, man. You want to talk about a low-dose show, you've got it there. I think the tickets prices for 2 days are like $60. That's $30 a day. You got a national headliner. Saving Abel's going to be there. The Friday night headliner's yet to be announced. So, I mean, there's going to be that draw there. But like you guys said, man, every band is going to bring their own sound, their own style, and it's something completely new. So what he is doing is essentially he's raising the bar in what people are going to expect in this area, especially from a festival. It's going to differ from Rocklahoma. It's going to differ from, like you said, Rock on the Range and all these other festivals. And Rockfest is a big one here, that's just packed full of all these bands that do all these festivals. This is going to open the doors for a lot of things and a lot of people to come out and enjoy different music from different areas of the country that they wouldn't hear. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I really wish that, the bigger festivals would follow this lead, honestly. Like, I realize you got to have your big name draws, but I mean, me and Mike, the rhythm guitarist, we go to Rock on the Range pretty religiously every year, and it's great to go. But I mean, it's generally the same bands. Like, I wish there was some way they would just have that draw, but still try to bring in more new acts as well. It's just it gets stale after a while. Is all I guess I'm trying to say. It's when they just have the same bands pretty much every year.
Let's talk about that on a bigger scale. Do you think that might have been what happened to Ozfest over the years? Because Ozfest had a hell of a run for 10 years, 12 years.
Oh yeah, I went to pretty much every Ozfest that existed, and after a while, here's a good story as far as that's concerned. I went and nobody knew who Slipknot was. I was standing on this. I mean, they were a side stage act. Nobody knew who they were, and I mean, they didn't even have an album out, I don't believe, at that time. It was amazing for me to be able to be a part of that because to see Slipknot come out and tear it up and not even knowing who they are or have an album that existed. After that Ozfest tour, their album came out and they blew up, of course, and everybody knows the story beyond that. But yeah, I think that in some senses that it was great when it first started because it brought bands like that to a new platform, just like this festival is going to do for us, basically. And it got people to pay attention to an unknown band. But then over the years, as Ozfest went on, Slipknot played every year, and it got so big and floated that don't get me wrong, I still love Slipknot, but I mean, how many times do I need to see them on the same tour, over and
And I think that's the biggest problem with the mainstream and to kind of touch on what you're saying, because we are pretty close with the Slipknot camp. So if they hear this, I don't want them to think we're saying anything bad about it.
No.
Let's.
I love Slipknot. I love Corey Taylor.
Let's.
By all means, don't get me wrong.
No, but I think to your point, to your point.
Amazing for me. It was more amazing for me to see them as an unknown new band than it was to see them the next 4 or 5 times that I saw them on that tour. You know what I mean?
Right, and just tired as fuck, because here's the thing, man, that's the biggest problem with mainstream music, and I think, and if you read any of the Slipknot books or anything like that, or read Corey Taylor's books or talk to the guys, they'll all tell you that, Jesus Christ, they were on tour nonstop for 10 years, man. I mean, they literally sacrificed everything for their dream, and they did it well, but it took a toll on them as individuals, which ultimately affects the band. So the biggest problem with the mainstream industry right now is that it does just that. It takes something that could be great long term and it runs it out so quick and so fast and overworks it so hard and squeezes every fucking ounce of blood out of it that it can, that it does become stale. And that's the one thing that the independent festivals like this that are happening aren't doing. You know what I mean? They're not taking you guys, and they're not making you millions of dollars in the next couple years but working your ass off. I mean, when you're doing 6 shows a week on a big stage like that, man, and then still having to write records, Jesus Christ, it's no longer fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that's the biggest thing. And I think, you know, because with Ozzy and Sharon, great business people, man, that the whole fest was great, but I think that's exactly what it was. I think it fell victim to the workhorse that is the mainstream music industry.
I wish that he would bring back Ozfest, but I wish that he would, in some senses, start over, like bring in new acts. I mean, because that's the whole thing. When I first started going to Ozfest, that's what introduced me to Korn, and that's what introduced me to Slipknot, introduced me to Incubus, and that's what introduced me to Papa Roach and POD and Coal Chamber and all these great bands. You know, I would have not known about them if it wasn't for Ozfest bringing them out and showing them in the forefront. Of course, now, I mean, they like you said, they in some senses been run into the ground because they've just been beaten like turnips to give every ounce of energy and ounce of blood away. You know, I wish that in some senses Ozzy would bring back Ozfest, but start with a new generation of music. You see what I want?
I think that Ozzy and Sharon would do just that so let's talk about that too, because now, you know, we're getting into a whole different conversation that we can save for later, but to touch on that point, at the time that Ozfest was kind of winding down per se, the talent pool out there was almost non-existent. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, there wasn't a lot of record labels that were putting anything into independent bands because they didn't see it as a profitable venture. All the bands that had started on Ozfest that were still doing Ozfest for 10 years were just tired. They just, man, right. I mean, even Ozzy himself, Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, you think about that, and Sharon and everybody else and all the shit that they have going on. And it's like, where do we go drum up new talent? So basically what needs to happen is these festivals like this need to happen so they can spark some interest with other bands that can possibly do just that. But you think about the talent pool, man, back when Ozfest was winding down, everything that was coming out was pop crap cookie cutter bullshit, man. Well, it wasn't Ozfest.
It's because a lot of the bands that were coming out at the end of Ozfest, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but they were just copycat bands of the greats. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, you've got this record company out there that's saying, well, how many bands can I find that sound like Korn? Because Korn's huge. Well, the problem with that is people get tired of hearing somebody who sounds like somebody else. You know?
which was a big challenge for each, and if you listen to interviews that each and every one of those bands that got Ozfest was their platform, every one of them say that exact same thing. Like, man, every album we had to do something different because there were so many people trying to copy our sound that we just had, right. And it became more work than what creatively they had, because they had to, you know, they couldn't do what they loved anymore. They had to do something different to set themselves apart for the next year, you know?
But I mean, honestly, I hate to say it too, with great, big, huge bands, you can hear that in some of their albums. I mean, like, I'm not even going to put a name on a band because I don't want to disrespect or make anyone feel like I'm pinpointing them. But, I mean, there's bands that I listen to that their first 2 or 3 albums are just like, oh my God, they just make me want to, like, get out there and just riot. I mean, they're just great. I mean, and then when they were getting into their 4th and 5th and 6th albums, it was just getting overproduced and watered down. Like, it didn't really, it kind of had the sound of the band, but it didn't have that energy and that wow factor that they had when they put out. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm really glad this is recorded, because in about 5 years, I'm going to call you and I'm going to replay this for you, because you guys will probably be on your 4th or 5th album then. and I'm going to say, hey, do you remember when you said this? How the fuck are you feeling now, pal?
And that's the thing is I've never been in one of those band's positions where I was on tour for 10 years straight and had to push out an album through my butt. I can't say what it's like. I don't know what it's like. You know what I mean? And that's why I ultimately don't want to disrespect anybody. It's just from the other standpoint, this is how I felt as a rock star, or like a rock music fan. Like it just, after a while, it starts to take a toll, and you can definitely hear the watered down.
Yeah, just you can almost tell when the band starts to dissipate as individuals, and they're not as close as they used to be, and you see it all the time, man. And it's sad, but it happened, man. It's the corporate conglomerate, man, and it's just the way it is. But I want you to remember you said that, because I will at one point replay this back for you. I promise.
You'll be going, man, what's up? You'll be going, man, what's up with this fifth album? It's
no
crap.
shit. This fifth album, shit, dude. You just watered down bullshit.
Yeah, now I can give you my flip of the coin. I've been on tour for 10 years all over the country, and I have a record company up my butt every day to pump out a hit. And
I love it, dude. I love it. I love the fact that, and this is what it's all about, folks. So we're talking about the Roarin' Thunder Rock Fest, man, May 3rd and 4th, Waltons Park, Newton, Kansas, man. Tickets are cheap as shit. You can get them from me. You can get them from everywhere. Just hit us up. We'll figure it out, man. But let's talk about, now that we're on this, let's end this with this. What can we expect from Burdens Within at this festival, man? Tell me about your show. Tell me what you're going to bring to the festival that's going to be different from everybody else.
I would say a whole lot of high energy. There's some of us really like to get into the crowd, really pump them up. You know what I mean? Like we got this crazy bassist over here that likes to really dance all over the place with his neon strings, and then you got a crazy guy with a 7-string, and then a goofball drummer in the back. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those shows where you just have to pay attention, but you just get drawn into it. We've got all these songs where everybody can relate to something of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really what's great about Burdens Within. When they hit the stage, look out.
And I'm going to hold you to that, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but myself and my co-host Metal Mike, we're actually hosting the event, so we'll be emceeing the event, and I'm going to introduce you guys on stage. So please believe I'm going to get the crowd all sorts of rowdy before you guys get on.
Excellent. Honestly, that's the thing. The better the crowd participation, the better the show. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
We live in Indiana, and we drove to Ohio not too long ago, and we literally played for the guy who opened the door of the club for us. That was the only person in the audience, and we still put on a show for that guy.
I mean, but you have to do it. In our day and age, it's you spend all this money on gear, you spend all this money on studio time, and you go play an empty venue, and that's what people like us and RR management and everybody involved with this festival is trying to do, is trying to re-spark an interest in local music and independent artists.
Yeah, we drove all that way, but at least that one guy went home a happy customer. He enjoyed the show. He said he'd love to have us back.
Did he at least buy a T-shirt?
He did, actually. He bought a
See?
T-shirt.
So it was worth it. You had 100% merch sales that day. It was worth it.
So, we're really looking forward to this festival, and I'm just hoping there's going to be a big turnout. I definitely think that we'll put on a good show for everybody. So
I expect nothing less. You guys are super cool cats, man, and thanks for taking the time out of your day to do this, man. I know you had a bunch of other interviews to do today, and somehow I've flubbed up the time, and we still made it happen. So on one parting note, man, I just want to say that when you guys get to Kansas, you guys ever played in Kansas before?
No, we have not. It'll be our first time.
So when you guys get to Kansas, do you know what day you're playing yet?
I think the 4th.
Okay, so
Which
you guys
is
are
the second day.
playing the 4th, the second day, which is
But I'm
when
not
Saving Abel's gonna be there.
sure on that yet.
I don't know that anybody is. I just didn't know. You're the first band I've talked to, so I wanted to kind of get a feel of that. But yeah, I know there's a lot of they're still trying to put everything together and make everything happen. But nonetheless, no matter what day it is, Friday or Saturday, man, Burdens Within promised a hell of a show, man. Get your ass out and check it out, man. Lodo Show. Hit me up. 106.6 The Blast on Facebook, Rock Assault Radio Show on Facebook, man. I've got a special deal on tickets for anybody that mentions that. And if you guys want to share that around too, man, let people know that if they want to come down and support you guys and come and watch you guys, get at me, man. I've got a special deal on tickets.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely want people to come check us out. And if you'd like to check us out now, feel free to go to Facebook and find us. And we have a CD for sale on Amazon.com, Burdens Within, self-titled. And yeah, I mean, we're out there on YouTube. We have a music video for Dead End Town and some like different concerts and different lyric video for the song "The Great Deceiver." Just some different things on YouTube. So go check us out.
Cool shit. And you guys feel free, man. You're part of my family now, so feel free to anything band related, man. Put it on the 106.6 The Blast Facebook page, dude, and promote yourself there because we got listeners everywhere.
All right, sounds
You know
great,
what I mean?
man.
You guys should take full advantage of this platform, man, and anything that we can do for you guys anytime, man. The only mistake you're going to make is not reaching out, man, and we'll see you May 3rd and 4th, all right?
Excellent. Awesome. We'll see you then, man.
Thanks, guys. Much love, man.
Thank you.
Bye. That was awesome, man. That's how it's done. That's how we're going to start out the interviews, man, regarding Roaring Thunder Rock Fest, May 3rd and 4th, Waltons Park, Newton, Kansas, man. Tickets are on sale now. Find the Facebook link. Get there. Get to the event, man. Go check it out. This is the first of many, many bands, man. We just had, you just heard them. Burdens Within. We're going to kick it off right now. See ya.